do things and how she liked things or whatever.
Okay.
But not letting them take the lead and
I
stuff.
feel like some guys like that.
I guess some
But
guys
some
like
don't.
that.
Like, it's weird, yeah. Like, I've had buddies who are in relationships like that.
Really?
It's kind of weird for me, because I'm not like that.
Uh-huh.
But some people are. I don't know. To each his own kind of thing, but I feel like a lot of women aren't like that, though.
I feel like a lot of women are. Like
Okay.
the independent women.
Or will they be like, you're going to order this
That
when we
That's
go to
actually
eat?
one of the questions on the podcast.
Oh,
what I mean?
okay.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, we are live.
Cool.
Just before Miley was telling us what a frog maker was, we'll let you guys figure that one out on your own. But we've got a bunch of really good questions this episode. We've got Miley in the house. Welcome back, Miley. You look lovely. My fine ass.
Oh yeah, I need my.
And Patrick the stud.
Cool.
My soundboard's not working. What the fuck? Okay. Let's get right to the questions. Here we go. I feel like I did really good with the questions, you guys. All right. Here it goes. Okay. All right. First, I guess I'll point this to Patrick first, and then I'm gonna switch it and point it to you.
Okay.
It's a sex-based question. Would you rather take... No, let's start with Miley. Miley, would you rather take a fine 50-year-old or an average 40-year-old?
Fine 50-year-old.
Okay. We're gonna get back to why you answered that, but Patrick, would you rather take a fine 33-year-old or an average 23-year-old?
Probably the older for sure.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Really? Wait, how old are you?
I'm 33,
Okay.
so that's like my age.
Okay. Why did you answer that?
I think maturity goes not just in a sexual sense, but as far as conversations go, work-life balance, what they do for a living. Can I learn something from them? Can I teach them something? And vice versa. But as far as if there's a 10-year gap with a 20-something-year-old versus a 33-year-old, and they're probably going to be more established in their career, and they're probably going to be on a trajectory where that younger person might want to go, generally.
What about the kids though?
If we're talking about like marriage and having kids and everything, or just like
the whole
30,
nine, bro.
30 is still young. You can still have kids and a whole family.
All right, you guys go ahead and justify it. Please tell me more.
Wait, what do you
So you would rather take the 33-year-old one because of the maturity and the fact that her biology is not as reproductive as the 23-year-old? That doesn't...
It wouldn't stop me. So because from generally speaking, my experience, if it's going to be like a 20-something-year-old, they're going to want to live their life. And most of them aren't going to want to settle down and have kids in their 20s. They're going to want to go out there, live a little bit. Maybe they were in college for a long time, and now it's time for them to travel around, do different things. So just because there's an age aspect, you can always adopt. You can do different things too. If biologically it's not working out, there's other alternatives. But I'd still rather pick a more mature person.
Wait, let me just spit out back what you said. You said that the 23-year-old's not even mature enough mentally to be in the situation to be ready to have kids.
Most of them, yeah. I feel like in my 20s, there's no way. I wasn't ready to be a dad in my 20s. So
No, but males and females is different, you know?
Yeah.
Girls start to feel it a little bit sooner.
For sure. But in their 20s, I wouldn't want to wife up and have a 20-something-year-old mom. I think she needs to live her life, in my opinion, and do her thing. And when she's ready, we can do it. And generally, I don't think most 20-year-olds are ready for that. Some of them are, for sure. But if you're asking me what my opinion would be, I'd rather go with the older one than the younger one, for sure.
Because of maturity?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not in the
what
same boat
age-
as you. But
What age do you think women are unable to have kids?
do I think?
Yeah.
Should we look it up?
You can have kids when you're 30, for sure.
I feel like 33 is not old.
Yeah, I don't...
But I get what you're saying as far
I
as
didn't
like,
say it was. I'm not saying that.
but it's like a geriatric kind of phase, or like the chances get a little higher for different kind of side effects the older they get.
35 is when you start becoming high risk pregnancy.
And how how is the health of a kid that's like from a 20-year-old versus a 30-year-old? Is it the same?
So the
I know
issue
what you're
with
gonna say.
age-
You're gonna
no,
say
no,
the
no.
guy, right?
No, the issue, yeah. So the issue with age for women is that when you're older, it's harder for you to carry a child to term, meaning not have a miscarriage. The issue with older men is that you're more likely to have birth defects.
Right. We're making the retarded babies, but it's harder on your bodies.
To actually have a baby. You could get pregnant, but you might not be able to have the baby and carry it to full term.
I didn't know that about the guys. That they're interesting. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, she told me that last time, and that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's the guy's seed, right? So, and the girl's like the vessel. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. Okay, I do have the link. I'm gonna send it to you right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay, back to you though, Miley. The fine. Let's like make it a little bit tougher because I hadn't thought about the question too deep. But let's say it's a fine 60-year-old versus a fucking ugly 40-year-old.
Wait, ugly? No, I can't.
Yes, fine ass 60-year-old, bodies in shape, fucking
I have
got
to be-
money.
Yeah, I have to be physically attracted to the guy.
So
I'd
the
go for
60-year-old?
60-year-old, yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. So it's really comes down to like you need to have that chemistry over everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Shit. Okay, the next question is we should come back to this question to answer what I would think too. Just saying. But,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
let me skip past that real quick.
You're going to choose
Okay.
the 20-year-old?
No.
And we didn't get to your why either.
Yeah, go ahead.
My why?
She said because it's a lot about chemistry and the way that you are attracted to the person.
Yeah, I mean, I need to be physically attracted to them. And also, I mean, older guys tend to be more chill. Guys that are 40 and single, I feel like they are still enjoying the single life.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay, me? Should I answer it?
Yeah.
What was the question?
Wait, okay. Wait, how old are you?
I'm 35.
So 35. So would you want an okay 35-year-old average job or a beautiful, successful 45-year-old?
I would I'd take the younger one.
Because you want a family?
But that I wouldn't even take the younger one. I wouldn't take either one. But let's
25-year-old.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Now 25-year-old versus the fine ass 35-year-old versus the average 25-year-old.
Okay.
That's tough.
Okay.
Because I probably go for the fine 35-year-old, my first instinct, and we'd probably have, better chemistry, and if we had stuff to talk about, then yeah, I'd probably go for that one. But because I don't want to reproduce with some ugly girl either,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't.
But she's average. She's not ugly. But she just...
All right, the only thing that would tip it for me is if that girl's fucking attitude was so on point that I would look past like she would be attractive enough for me to fall in love with her, so it wouldn't be like I'd be repulsed by her in any way, but it wouldn't be like you're a 10 out of 10, but your attitude is a 10 out of 10, so that's like, all right, I'll take, okay, the reproductive value you have plus the amazing homemaker and like wifey attitude you have would beat the hot girl versus the girl that like had more to offer, and be more worldly and like well-rounded and whatever, like has more time on this earth to like learn things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think I tip the scale toward reproductive and you do fucking everything perfect versus you're kind of a headache, but and it's gonna be harder to have kids with you, but you're fine as fuck. Like you're drop dead gorgeous, and you probably are more intelligent too in general. I don't know, that's tough.
I think it depends on the kind of woman you want raising your kid.
Yeah, the first
Besides
one
look.
the first one would be the one I want raising my kid.
Yeah, for sure. Because you want someone who isn't just all about vanity and neglecting the kid, and they're going out and doing things like that. You want a good fundamental who's gonna set the kid, make sure they have goals and things like that. That's gonna establish the foundation of a good person.
Not to say that the first one is, you know, not going to be as good of a wife and mother, right? But like, if the 25-year-old's like an all-star, I'd be like, bro, you're Michael Jordan, you know, like I'm not about to pass you up, you know?
Yeah.
Tough one. Okay, let me just ask another question because that's like fucking who knows
What makes someone an all-star?
Okay, for me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She has the attitude that our grandmothers had. She doesn't come from this generation. Like, she doesn't watch TikTok. And like, I've noticed there's a trend nowadays with the younger girls is like, they know what the fuck the guys like to hear. Like, we like to hear that slutty shit. And they're really pandering. So these girls are saying wild shit, you know? And I'm noticing like they're popping up out of nowhere and getting like thousands of followers. And it's like, if you scroll the TikTok algorithm long enough, you'll start to realize that like toxic is cool. And so I think a perfect girl for me would be like, she's far removed from that culture. She's like of a culture of like, I don't know, 50 years ago, or like in another country, you know, where like their whole idea is like, I'm gonna find a good man and I'm gonna serve him, kind of, you know, and my value to him is giving him children, and she knows her role. And then, so I think that would be like an all-star for me, because if that doesn't happen, then I won't have children, and I'll be in a situation where like I'm not really a leader in my family. She could decide to run things the way that she wants. And I generally think like if I took the role of like, yo, like I know what's best for our family, then that would be a better dynamic long term. So like early on, I'm looking for a girl who kind of like aligns with my values and is like, yeah, I fuck with the way you think, and I'm just gonna listen to your program. Every now and again, like she might jump in and be like, yo, you're fucking up this. But for the most part, she's not like, yo, I'm building my whole little separate career. This is my life. You're fitting into my life. It's more of like, hey, I'm fitting into your life. And like, you know, that I think that would be a perfect scenario.
Is that how you grew up as far as the roles? Where it's like the man of the household legit is the man of the household, and then the woman kind of
I think the Middle Eastern culture is primarily like that.
I get it.
Right. But I don't know. I guess you asked the question like, what's an all-star? What's an all-star to you?
Someone that who makes me feel like I don't have to take care of everything or plan everything.
Oh, describing me to a T.
Because I feel like a lot of women are independent these days, but it's not by choice. We do it because we have to, and we don't think that anyone else can do it for us better. So I think that's why a lot of women step into that role.
And you know what? I like how you answered. There's probably so many answers you could give, right? Like, what would be a perfect guy for me? But like, at the end of the day, if you look at that answer that you gave, like long term, it seems like people that have that dynamic, like the guy's taking care of her, you know, she's in her feminine, she doesn't have to think about things too much, she's being taken care of, you know, like I see those relationships working out for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. It's like, okay, what about you? What's an all-star for you?
Someone that makes you better, someone that wants you to do better, and it's never enough. You know, like just be better, do better things, just be a good person. Not someone who is gonna take you down the wrong path, but someone who's like, hey, we should, you know, trajectory and do different things and expand, and how can you and I take over the world essentially? Not someone who's gonna sit at home on TikTok, scrolling on their phone, doing nothing. So it's just, what is your value in life? What
All
do you
right,
want to do
let me
with
ask
life?
you this. Okay, you have two different options of girls. Okay, one is the 23-year-old who she's like, sweetie, honey, whatever you say, how high, you know, tell me to jump, and I'm there. She's your assistant, right?
Yeah.
Okay, would you rather take that chick, or would you rather the other girl, which is she's independent, she's intelligent, she's making moves, she knows how the moves work on the board, and you know, she's kind of like she's her own entity, you know what I mean?
Cool.
She's not supporting your dream, but
Yeah.
she's also appreciative that you have goals and ambitions, but she's doing her own thing. But she can give you, you know, her insights sometimes and bounce ideas off with her. But you know, she's on her own trajectory. What would you prefer?
That 100%. The one, I want a boss. You know what I mean? I don't want an employee who says, okay, yes, I'll do this. Some subservient person who does whatever I tell him to do, and then we can't have a conversation, we can't argue, we can't go back and forth.
No, but that's not to say that the assistant, she doesn't have those qualities, but she's not starting her own empire. She's building your empire.
No, I'd rather combine two and expand and make it better. So I want someone who, with or without me, is going to make moves in life, and with me, it will be better. And the same token, the same way with me. With or without her, I'm making moves, but with her, we can do better. So I want someone who is independent on their own, who can stand on their 2 feet and be 10 toes down and take care of business, with or without me. But together, we can do so much more. And we see the value in each other, and we know that we can make things happen, versus someone who just piggyback and do whatever kind of with me. It's kind of mooching off me. I want someone who's like, you handle your business.
Oh,
I handle mine.
okay. Don't say the word mooching, bro.
Why? Offensive?
Yeah, it is offensive to all the housewives out there, right? That's like, yo, your dream's my dream.
Okay.
They're not mooching off their husbands.
But you would agree that that word does mean something. There are mooching people. I'm not saying housewives are moochers. No, they put in. I'm sure they take care of their kids. They provide for their family, do a lot of things.
Let's just assume that in this scenario, we're not referring to any mooches.
Okay.
Right? So, but you still prefer the girl who has her own, right?
Yeah, for
versus
sure.
the girl that's helping you build your empire. You'd rather have her own, and then you guys meet in the middle somehow?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm totally opposite. What about you? I think you're like more on my boat, right? Like you want the guy to have his shit and you could help him out.
No.
But you do have your own career, so
Yeah.
maybe
I think that two people can come together and build something better together. I wouldn't want to just follow the leader and do whatever he says. I think I have my own, I have my own career already, so I wouldn't want to just throw that away and then just follow the guy. But I do think that I could possibly use what I know from my career and help him in his business or whatever he's trying to do.
But nonetheless, you wouldn't stop yours. Would there ever be a point where you're like, all right, it's time to stop mine and switch over to his?
If I thought that that was the best thing for both of us, that, you know, we could build something better by me investing all of my energy into that, then yeah, for sure. But that's going to take time. I'm not just going to like meet someone and then we decide, okay, you're going to be the leader, and then I'm just going to give up everything that I've worked my whole life for.
So why are you the opposite? What would you rather and why?
I say follow the most competent person. If my plan is about to make us $100 million,
what if you're both competent though?
I'm saying follow the person who's got the most competent plan.
So
Not
then,
the most competent person, the most competent plan.
okay, so what if she's the one that's more competent than you?
I will follow her.
Really?
Yeah. Not her being competent, her plan being more competent.
Right.
If she's got a plan that is a no-brainer, and I'm on this trajectory of like, yo, by the time you make this shit happen, we're about to be 90 years old. But like, she's like, look, like, and what she's saying is all making sense to me. I drop everything in a heartbeat, no matter how much time I've invested in it, lose a bunch of money, totally U-turn and go in her direction. If I met a billionaire right now, I would date her and I would do exactly what she's doing. So.
But going back to like the question, would you rather a 20-something-year-old who's going to help you or someone who's...
Since the majority of women are not ever going to be having a more competent plan than me, right? I'm talking only in financial terms. Like, there's so many things you can judge a person, engage a person by to have high value. And I'm not going to discredit all that. I'm just saying financially, right? If there's a billionaire chick right now, fuck it. I'll do what you say. You know, like, just teach me your ways. But I don't think how many billionaire women are there? Let's look it up, right? So
How many billionaire men are there? There's not that many billionaires in the world.
yeah, but how many, the ratio of men to women billionaires? I'm just saying, okay? I think most girls are focused on other priorities that are better for women to focus on. Like, let's say a man and a woman come together, you know? Like, the woman's going to be focused on certain aspects of that relationships, and the man is going to be focused on certain aspects. And I think when it comes to like the financial part, guys usually have a better plan. Guys usually are more forward thinking, right?
Show me these men because I haven't been meeting them.
I think by nature, guys have to. Well, I mean, I know a lot of guys are dropping the ball nowadays, but if you want to have kids and you want to have a home here in Orange County, if you want, like, you can't not try to, you know what I mean? Shoot for success, right? Like, okay, but to answer your question, okay, I think I take the assistant because I haven't met very many women that have a better game plan than me. So if she happens to have a better game plan than me, then, you know, fine, I'll be your assistant, you know? But since that's not the case, since men presumably rule the world and we're usually on the forefront of most of the important technological advances and, you know, most of the important infrastructure in the world, I'm not discrediting women. I'm not. I'm just saying, if I come across that type of girl, I'll listen to her because she's more competent. But since I probably, odds is that I won't, I'm probably going to need a game plan, right? So I'd rather her follow my lead than to be like, yo, I got my own game plan too. Like, shit, if we can just like do stuff to support your hobbies, then cool, you know? Like, you want to open up a yoga studio or something. But if you're over here trying to start an insurance company, but you hate insurance, but you think it's going to make you wealthy, right? And I'm over here doing something else that is like maybe more proven to make you wealthy, then like I would rather her totally drop what she's doing and just join forces with me. I don't know. Okay, we got more questions. I don't mean to dominate that question. Okay, here's one. If you met somebody that you really liked, would you wait for 2 years in the friend zone for them if you thought that there was a shot that you guys could actually be something?
Yes.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. So there's no way in hell I'm going to wait 2 years for the chance that maybe we can go out or be something. No, it's you shoot your shot, and if it's not, then I don't have 2 years to waste. So making moves, and we're moving on to the next person. Because if they're not going to make it happen, or it's not going to be feasible for whatever reason, there's no way I'm going to just sit on ice for 2 years and hopefully I have a chance when she's dating other people and doing other things. And no way.
I agree.
Wait, they're dating other people while you're waiting in the friend zone?
Not necessarily. They're like, I'm working on me, but I don't want to
Oh.
date anybody for 2 years.
Same.
Same, right?
Yeah.
That happened to me, bro. I was like, I hope you find your happiness. Like, fuck all that shit, bro.
Have a good life.
Yeah, because like it was confusing because she was very bubbly, and every time she saw me, she'd like fist bump, hug, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking there's chemistry, you know? But then I just had to rip the Band-Aid off and be like, yo, I haven't asked you out to dinner because I don't really want to hear no. And I'm not going to ask for that very reason.
How would you know if she was interested or not if you didn't ask her though?
Because I asked her that. I told her that. I made that statement.
2
I
years
said,
in?
no, like 2 weeks in. I was like, I haven't asked you out to dinner, meaning I have the intention of asking you out. I would love to take you out, but I don't want to hear the word no. Not in a rapey way. I'm just
That's
saying.
like a roundabout way to ask her though.
That's
Why
what
wouldn't you-
exactly the way it came off is more of like, more kind of like, well, I'm already giving you an out right now by saying I don't want to hear no because you're gonna say no instead of just being like, hey, tomorrow night we're going to dinner.
No, I don't agree. Because she gave me plenty of signs before that like when we first met, she said that like, you know, take things slow and just, you know, like be Instagram friends for a little while, right? But then like the comments that I would make, I would express the interest, you know what I mean? I don't think it was overbearing. I just think it was, casual, like flirt, right?
No, I didn't say overbearing. I said it was kind of roundabout, where it wasn't really clear what your intentions were.
Oh, well, okay. So when I ran into her, I was clear about my intentions. I was like, I think we have chemistry. What do you think? I expressed that I would like to ask her to dinner, but I've been holding back. If it was somebody that liked you, they'd be like, what do you mean? Like,
But why wouldn't you just ask her to dinner? Why would you tell her?
Because I know what she's probably at, what stage she's probably at right now, and I don't want to just ask her just to hear a no. I'm gonna put the ball in her court.
What was the point of telling her that statement? That I want to ask you to dinner, but I haven't been.
That I want to get to know you, but I know that you're at a stage in your life where you probably want to hold off dating for a while because you're figuring out you and you're trying to accomplish whatever you want.
So were you trying to stay in the friend zone?
No, what I was trying to do was say, hey, I want to initiate this. I want to go out to dinner with you. But if you're not in a place for that, then I'm going to give up on this, and I hope that you find your happiness because I'm not waiting around 2 years.
Why did wait 2 weeks?
Well, I didn't wait 2 weeks. Like from the minute I met her, hit her up a couple times the days after, there was conversation between those 2 weeks.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
How would you want a guy to approach you in that situation? So say you meet a guy, you're kind of filtering him out, seeing if it's friend zone or not.
You don't like him when you don't dislike him. Just, there's maybe, right? But you want to wait 2 years until you figure you out and maybe, be friends with him in that 2 years time, and maybe after 2 years, when you're good and ready, he'll still be there. Fucking believe that, bro.
Some people do that. Some people wait a long time and then just for the chance, and that's have more self-respect.
But you know what? It's also a cop-out. I think it means that I'm not fully into you, so it's a maybe. So you know what I mean?
Like a backup plan?
Yeah, it's if you're being honest with yourself, you'd probably be like, I probably don't see myself with this person. Because if you really saw yourself, but I don't know, maybe you really are working on you, and if you let infiltrate any kind of romantic interest, it's gonna fuck up what you got going on. So I get that. I'm not hating on that, but at the same time, it kind of felt like a sting. Well, okay, fucking Prince Charming's right in your face, bitch.
That's her loss then.
I wouldn't expect someone to wait for me, but for me, if I'm the one that's waiting, it's only because I'm so into this guy that I can't really find myself attracted.
I thought I could, because when we first talked, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to, do this whole thing. I'm trying to accomplish too, right? And so I thought 2 years is a great time frame, to just be friends. But then when I realized that I kind of like this girl, why the fuck am I gonna wait? We could be having a baby in 2 years.
What? Why did she say 2 years? Or is that something?
She's getting her master's or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I'm not a proponent of waiting, and I think it's a cop out for somebody that you're not fully into.
Yeah, and then just putting someone in a friend zone too, and it's a slow burn. It's a slow way for it to die. Just be like, at some point we'll stop being friends.
Oh yeah, it fizzles because in the beginning that chemistry, if the chemistry is there, but in 2 years that thing fizzles. I know I got some more questions. Okay, here's a good one. What makes a woman want to build up a man throughout his journey and of becoming successful and grow with him together versus wanting a man that's already established in a complete product? What's the difference between thought process of those two women? One that's I'm going to build with this man versus the one that's I'm not doing that. I'm waiting for the man that's complete.
I think it just depends on who you meet, to be honest. I think a woman would be okay with either one.
So whoever she likes more, she's willing to either build up with them or, meet them at the end. But
I probably have a different take on it. I'm thinking love versus convenience. Love, you're in the trenches with them. If you have to eat ramen every day for 6 months, you're doing it for love because you know that at the end of the day, it'll work out versus I don't want to go through all that shit. I just want someone who's already established. It's convenient for me. They're going to support my lifestyle, whatever the sex is, and they can just go the easy route where it's like they've already done the hard work. But someone who's put in the grind for them, that's, to me, that's one of the definitions of love, where it's like, I'll sacrifice with you.
I have a take on this. Okay. I don't think there's nothing wrong with women not being gold diggers, but with women wanting financial security.
And not mooching?
No, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, bro. If a woman is not a mooch, but she does expect her man to totally take care of her, like, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think so either, because there's a compromise. She's getting something and he's getting something. It's a transaction.
I have a follow-up question to that. So let's say you've already built your career, your life, whatever. Are you always going to be skeptical of any woman that comes in when you're established at that point?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So if I have all the stuff that I sweat and bled for and everything, anytime, and that's why we have prenups. That's why we have all these things to protect your assets.
Oh, we have a prenup question, by the way.
Because I worked my ass off for this, and I'm not going to give it away to some good-looking person who doesn't deserve it. I rather give it or have half of it go to the person who was with me from the beginning, because that's theirs too, and they're entitled to it, versus someone who's like, oh, I see what he has, I like it, and I'm going to get a piece of that, or at least support my lifestyle. No, I'd rather die alone than someone come in and try to take what I have that I worked for. So looks aside, long way to answer your question is, I will always be skeptical of someone trying to come in and take what I have, because at the end of the day, they're with me because they want something, and I want something from them. It's just more about where are we aligned in that, and I'd always be skeptical for sure.
Was that your question?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're already a successful man, would you be skeptical? That was your question?
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of the things that you said. Like the whole Bezos, he had to break her off, right? But she was there from day one. So it was kind of like, oh, yeah, she deserved it. It's common sense, you know? Like, if she earned it before I made it, and then she was there after, and then it just didn't work out, like, all right, you were on the come up, and you kind of, would I be skeptical if I'd already made it, and she comes into the picture now? Well, I think as a man, I'd want to protect myself by not even going down that path, you know?
Right. That's
like,
smart.
either get married in another country where we have a dope ass wedding, but the laws wouldn't apply, right? So I'd avoid that whole thing. Or if we do get married, have a bullet-proof prenup. And at that point, if I'm signing a prenup, I have to give her something. It's not like, right? So I'd just be okay with whatever. She's worth every penny of whatever this future risk could potentially be. So it's like, all right, fine. You know, I know what I don't go to a casino to gamble thinking that I'm not going to lose it all, you know? So whatever the risk is, I'm willing to, I'm trying to take whatever happiness I can get out of this for dealing with that risk potentially. But I wouldn't be skeptical because I already know fucking the dangers. I already know what's out there. I know the venomous fucking reptiles that do crazy shit to men of stature, right? Like, you hear it about a lot of in celebrities and stuff.
Right.
Like,
false allegations, all kinds of stuff.
astronomical values,
Yeah.
you know, from child support and fucking alimony or whatever. So I know what the dangers are. I wouldn't be skeptical, but I would take a few steps to not put myself in any of those kind of situations.
I think you should be skeptical, or me personally, always be skeptical for everything. Doesn't matter. So even, I know in your specific question, it's when you're established and you're well off, would you be skeptical? But I think it's never a bad idea to be skeptical on everything, because it's hard to sneak up on someone who's always expected someone to come after them. In my book, I think you're well-rounded. You're always good to go.
That's
when you
the lawyer
expect
in you, bro.
You just got to expect the worst and hope for the best, but just don't get caught slipping.
Yeah, no, I just make sure you cover your bases is my thought process. I'm not necessarily skeptical, but just if you get bit, then fuck it, bro. You know, you covered the bases that you could have covered. You know, you can't control everything.
But what about like a hypo? Say you're at Mesa and you meet some girl and you guys go back and have a good time. Who's to stop her from making some kind of false allegation against you? You did nothing wrong. So that's what I'm always saying. be cautious and be smart.
Okay, then here's the answer to that. Okay, everybody knows what goes on, right? So you just do a quick little selfie like, hey, what's up, baby? Fucking, you consent, right?
And that's you being, cautious. And that's smart.
And it only takes 3 seconds.
Do
You
you
don't
really
have
do
to.
that?
No, I don't. But I'm saying if you have that feeling, you should always just take that quick 3 seconds and don't care about what the vibe is. And,
But don't
and
you think if you have that feeling, you should maybe not involve yourself with that person?
you can't know for sure. People react out of spite sometimes.
Yeah.
So you could get in a scenario where like maybe she had a boyfriend that she cheated on and she was trying to, say that you did something, right? When that wasn't the case.
Yeah, you just never know the other person, and that's what gets scary. False allegations, all that stuff. We're just like,
So back to the thing is like I don't fear those type of things. I never go into a situation worried about it. But those are little things, little actions that you just, covering your bases.
Yeah.
Same with fucking marriage and, potential divorce. I don't go into it skeptical. I don't think about the worst case scenario, but I do want to cover these bases just in case.
exactly. I agree. That's like I put my seatbelt on when I drive, not hoping to get in an accident.
Yeah.
But if I do, then at least I'm not going to fly through my windshield.
Okay. If anyone has any questions, feel free, but we do have a long list. Okay, wait, but like to kind of like get to the bottom of the difference in the thought process of the women that are like, I'm waiting for the man in the end versus like, no, I'm willing to build up. She kind of hit it on the head a little bit. She's like, it depends on the man, If he's fine as fuck, then the girl's probably going to be like, okay, he's got some ambition, she'll justify it to herself some way and she'll work with that man that's sleeping on the couch and, on his way to his whatever journey to get successful. So it does depend on the man, right? So, but then again, is there a difference in thought process between the two women, or is it just how fine the guy is?
I don't think there's a difference. It just depends on how much you like the guy.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to just be like how fine he is, but like how much you like him.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's fucking true. Okay, there's often an age gap between successful men and their partners. What do you think makes those types of relationships work? Like, if there was a reason to make those work, what would be the reason why those even work in the first place?
I think both of them know their contribution to the relationship, so I think it makes it easier for them to, know their place in the relationship and what they add to it.
And do you think true love can exist between partners that are like 15 years, 20 years age gap?
Yeah, for sure.
So these young ass 20-year-old girls that find like a 70-year-old, that's an extreme example, right? But like, and they're like, oh, I love him, right? Like, do you think they really do love him?
They love what he has to offer, at least.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. They love what he has. Because it's like their grandpa at the end of the day. You know what
It's
I mean?
almost impossible to love your grandpa in the way you would love a sexual partner, right?
Right.
But they love the lifestyle.
And then he loves her and her look. That's what, it's transactional. It's a business. Like, I like what you have to offer physically. You like what I have to offer economically. Then we can make something work out. And it's just all transactional. It's not, there's nothing wrong with it. That's just the way it is.
But that's an extreme example. Like a 10-year age gap is not extreme. It's very common, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So like, let's push it though. Like 15 years, 20, now 20 is like pushing it, right? Like you can't legitimately fall in love with someone 20 years older than you, or can you?
Oh, people have daddy issues or other insecurities.
So if you're damaged goods, then maybe, but a generally healthy person wouldn't, right?
Everyone's damaged these days.
I can't answer for the woman. For a man, yeah. If I'm 80 years old and there's someone who's 30 something, like you're gonna fall in love with the looks for sure. And then maybe that person makes you feel young again, and maybe you like that feeling. Like she has energy, she wants to go out and do things. Like you have a second chance. It's kind of like a midlife crisis kind of thing, where you, instead of buying a fast car that you can go crazy in, you find someone who wants to take you out of your shell and do fun things, and you might fall in love with that aspect of it.
Okay, let me put you on the spot though, okay? I think it's hard for a woman that's like 23 to fall in love, like in the truest puppy love sense of the word, with someone that's 20 years older, like 43, right? Okay, so let's just establish that. I'm not saying it's 100%. I'm just saying that like it's believable to think that, right? Now, but you, right? Let's say there's a girl that's like, I don't know, 10 years older than you, 15 years older than you. You see that happen. You see guys falling in love with older women too.
For sure.
And do you think that love is like, is that healthy also? Or is that a damaged guy that's looking up to a mommy figure?
No, I think it's someone who, I think you can fall in love with them, not damaged goods. I think you can fall in love with the character of that person. Like, this person has their shit together, and I love that. This person is making moves, and I love that. So it's not just, and physical, because nowadays people don't look their age. You can have all kinds of physical aspects, cosmetic stuff done to you to make you look attractive, even though you're in your 60s or whatever the case may be. So I think from a man's perspective, yes, a guy can fall in love with someone who's 15 years older than him, and I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, but you touched on a couple things. So you touched on physical, right?
Yeah.
So like she's still fine,
Cool.
right? So that's probably a big determinant factor. Like, yeah, you probably, and the girl for the guy too, like a 20-year age gap. As long as the guy's not ugly, right? And like, if he's fine, like she even said it, she could go for a fucking guy that's 20 years older if he was fine, right? So stay fine. If you're gonna be with somebody and there's a large age gap, that's totally fine, but stay fine. It's kind of redundant, but does anyone have any last comments to say about age gaps? Like, that totally works.
I mean, is our looks the most important thing for men?
I think when it comes to an age gap, looks is the most important thing to a woman and a man. A man wants to get that large age gap because, like, the girl is just much prettier.
I think, if we're going age gap wise, older man, younger female, my opinion would be primarily based off physical attraction.
And then
But I can't speak for the other side.
but like, if a girl that goes after a guy that's 20 years older than her, right?
Yeah.
Like, aside from the fact that this is a purely transactional thing, she's just waiting to the minute this guy dies. Like, let's say she's going into it for love, right? The only way she's going to fall in love with that guy is if he is handsome.
Mm-hmm.
So the age gap kind of goes away, right? So when it comes to an age gap, only this topic of age gap, like, looks is everything. I don't know. I guess.
But what about from a woman's perspective is that, let's switch the roles, 70-year-old woman, 23-year-old male. Does she love him to love him, or does she love him for what he had, like his looks?
Probably what you were saying about making her feel young. And
Okay.
yeah, the way that he makes her feel is probably the biggest thing.
All right, I don't want this to get too jumbled up. Like, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. Let's just move on to the next question. So, what do you think is the biggest? Okay, here we go. What do you think is the biggest difference in the thought process and mating strategy? I think I asked this one already, right? Between the stay-at-home wife versus the independent girl? Oh, no, I didn't ask it, right?
Not for mating strategy,
okay.
no.
What do you think is the biggest difference in thought process toward relationships and mating strategy between a woman that wants to be a stay-at-home wife versus a homemaker and submissive to their husband versus a woman who's strong-willed and career-focused?
Mating strategy.
Like, they both want to find a mate, right?
Okay.
They know that at the end of the day, I want to be with someone. I don't want to be alone. But the woman who is a homemaker, housewife, and submissive has a different mating strategy and thought process than the girl who's like, nah, I'll find that still, but I'm still going to have my career and I'm going to be independent and strong-willed. So like what's the difference in between their thought processes?
I think it's going to be harder for the first scenario, as far as the stay-at-home quote-unquote mother is going to find men a lot easier than the more...
But not who it's harder and easier for, but like what do you think goes through, like, if we were a girl, what would be going through our head if we were in that predicament? You know, like, we want to find the best man we can, right? Or like, let's ask you. We got a girl here. Shit. What do you think is the difference between those thought processes of that girl?
I've met a lot of girls that want to be stay-at-home moms, and by the time they're in their late 20s, they're extremely stressed out if they're not married yet. And their whole thing is, I'm going to be, my looks aren't going to last forever. I need to lower my standards and settle for someone who's going to take care of me now. Whereas the career women are more of the attitude that I'm just going to do my thing. And if a guy comes along, he comes along. And
okay, that answers it. So the girl, the career-driven woman, she has more of like a take it or leave it attitude. She knows that there's a chance that she will end up single and 70 and alone.
And that was exactly the point I was making earlier, is she's going to have it harder. Someone who just wants to be a stay-at-home mom is going to have it a lot easier, because any guy wants that kind of thing.
That's, to me, that's obvious, right? But what's not obvious is like, what the fuck is going through these girls' heads at the age of like 25 when they know they're at a fork in the road? They know that like, this is my peak prime of sexuality and I could probably get a man if I cater to what men want. Versus the other girls like, you know what? Fuck men. I need to be, good on my terms. And I want to find a good man, but shit, if I end up 35 and still single, then that's the risk I'm willing to take.
That's cool. I like that. I respect it.
But the difference in the thought process is that one is okay being alone versus the other who's not okay being alone.
Right. One is I need someone to provide for me. The other one is I got this on my own. And that's
not necessarily provide for me, but like
she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, right? She's not going to work.
She's trying to lock in the deal, you know what I mean?
Right.
While she's got the most chips on the table, she's trying to lock in the deal, right? The other girl's like, nah, I'm gonna put it, I'm gonna put my bet down and I'm gonna risk going for the next bigger pot, She thinks that she could get her career, and I'm not saying she can't. Women get that all the time, But I just think it's that thought process that like, I got more time, right? And
well, it's just I'm not in a rush and I'm not willing to settle. So
yeah,
if I don't find anyone, I have my own career. That's my backup plan, and I can take care of myself. Whereas if you want to be a stay-at-home mom,
that's another point though. A lot of women have that fear that if I can't make my money of my own, I'll be subjected to him and he could abuse me with that power. So I think that influences their thought process versus the stay-at-home wife's like, fuck it, like I might get abused, but hopefully I find a good one and don't, right? Like the second girl, she's like, hell no, I'm not taking that chance. I'm making my own bread.
Right. And I think that's different mentalities. Same thing with the guys though. Like, do you want to just be working a 9 to 5 or you want out there and make moves? Depends on what they want to do. So just different mentalities, different strokes for different folks kind of thing. But there's weak people and there's strong people. And some people are okay with settling and some people are okay with making their own kind of future.
But here's the thing though, like, I think that fear that the second woman has, right? If you could ease her skepticism, right? Like, baby, I'm not gonna leave you out to dry, like we're gonna have an abundance of wealth, and even if we do separate, you're gonna walk away handsomely, not half, but you will walk away, you'll
be taken care of.
Yeah, you'll be well taken care of, and even on my worst day, I'll never hate you, So I think a lot of women are like afraid that like, yo, if I don't produce, I'll be left and now have to, be, stuck carrying the bag. But
and that's a problem that I'm glad we don't have to deal with as far as like the social aspect of things, where men can just be like, it's society makes it okay, where a guy can be in his 60s and have a wife in his 40s or something like her 40s. So we have it as far as like what I grew up with culturally, it's a lot easier for us to get our career going and find someone after, and women have it a lot harder. Like we were talking about that age gap and that ticking clock with women to have a baby and everything else, where I get what you're saying about your friends in their 20s, where it's like they're trying to do everything they can now because the looks will fade. But I pity with you guys, but it's this problem that normally we don't have to deal with, and that's why I can't relate to it kind of thing.
Well, thank God we're guys. Sorry, Miley. Just kidding. I got a bunch of good questions. Okay. Why do women file for divorce more than men? Or was that the question? Hold on. Why do women file for divorce more than men? Yeah.
Because they finally found out their husband's cheating on them.
We know that women tend to file divorce more often than men, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to know all the reasons why people file divorce, right? But like, why is it that more women do than men? Are men just suckier and women are just like, we're not dealing with these sucky men?
No, I think the issue is when a woman's not happy, she'll end it. But
Okay.
also, if a man's not happy, he's okay being lukewarm and making it so bad that the woman has to end it.
Yeah, some guys are like that. Some guys will be like, they're not man enough to call it quits, so they're just gonna make it as miserable as possible so the chick can call it quits for them. Or are men even men nowadays kind of thing too? Like it's a different kind of, generationally speaking, like the roles have switched kind of thing, and it's more they transition into each other. But I think women file for divorce more than men because they are more in tune with their value than having to, oh, I can't leave him because I'll have nothing. I think now society is switched where it's like, you'll be okay, you can figure it out, it's a level playing field, go on your own, instead of back in the 60s where it's like, I will have nothing, I need to stay with him. Now it's more of like, you'll be okay kind of thing. So I think they're not afraid of that anymore, or whatever other reason it is, maybe they find someone else or something.
All right, there was 3 things you guys said. So Miley said women just are more ruthless. They'll cut shit off quicker than men, right? The second thing was that men are kind of becoming more slobbish nowadays than our grandfathers, Like, if you were a good husband, like, you would fight for your marriage, but I guess a lot of men are kind of getting complacent and, like, women are leaving. And then the third one, I forgot the third one. You just touched on it.
As far as getting divorced back in the day versus now? Or?
Yes. Women now realize that, like, not just women, just people in general, we have so many more luxuries. Like women aren't forced to be like, I have to marry because our family won't survive and we have to trade our 3 cows for this fucking, like, it's not an economic thing anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a level playing field now, and I think that everyone can do whatever they want to do. It's not like you have to be forced into marriage to survive and not be homeless, but I also think that it's just a societal thing. It's okay now. It wasn't okay back in the day, but now it's okay.
So going back to, why do women actually initiate divorce quicker than men, though? It's because...
I can only speak for the men, but I think that men, they quit. And like you're saying, they don't man up and say, hey, this is it, I'm done.
I was just going to say that. I think men, when they lock a girl down, they're like, got her, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going back out into the fucking dating world. You know what I mean?
What?
I don't know.
I do think men, the times that men do initiate divorce, usually they have a backup already in place.
That makes sense.
They're not getting divorced just to be alone and party most of the time. Most of the time they have someone else that lined up already.
Well, what that means is, and I think women, you could speak that's probably what women get divorced for too, right? They probably got something else lined up, right?
Sometimes, but not always.
So that means, with that logic, more women have some option lined up than men.
No.
Because most people are divorcing because they got something else lined up. So women got way more options than guys, right?
That's true. That's a fact. Women have it so much more easier than we do.
Right.
As far as like finding a mate, 100%. Okay.
way.
So let's say you go out at a club.
Maybe younger, but not when you get older.
So are you approaching men, or do you wait for them to approach you?
I wait for men to approach me, but
right. So it's a lot easier for you.
I feel like the tables turn after 35.
But as far as, I'm not waiting for a girl to approach me, I will make a move. And women are the ones who are preyed upon. So it's easier for you in that regard to meet more people than it is.
Look, we're talking.
Once you're over 35, the tables turn like 100%.
So women are more aggressive in the 35?
Women do approach older men, yeah. And I see it at the bar all the time.
Got it.
Especially if a guy looks like he has money, then yeah, he's getting approached a lot by women.
Okay, so you guys are both right, but we were talking about, why do women initiate divorce more than men? And I was trying to say that I don't know what the majority of divorces happen over, but I'm assuming it's going to be because you found someone else and you don't want this old person anymore, right? Like, I'm assuming. I don't know what the stats are,
But
but
usually
it's
it's financial, money. So
true.
someone loses a job or something, or you're not able to have the luxuries that you're used to.
But why would you divorce over that though? Because you're going to find someone new that's better, right? So you're finding someone new essentially, right? Like, you're not just going to be like, you lost your job, you're losing everything.
Yeah,
Well,
have a
I'm gonna
nice life,
divorce
I'm
you.
out.
You're gonna be like,
Well, there are
I'm
a lot
gonna
of
divorce you
times.
because I got this guy up the
Okay,
fucking road
so
right here.
I had a friend. He got married, and he was kind of had like a car sales job, like just a like a normal job, and his wife was in insurance, and then she got promoted real quick, and she ended up being the primary breadwinner for the family, and he was like, okay, whatever. And then somewhere along the way, his career took off, and he ended up making a lot more than her. At that point, he decided to get divorced from her. So it's not necessarily like, it's when your income changes, your status changes or whatever, then you look at what your options are and then you reevaluate. And so a lot of people, finances do play a huge role in whether someone decides to stay with them.
Did he find someone younger than his ex-wife?
No, he actually went back to his ex-girlfriend, but then that didn't work out. So now he's single.
but what you're saying is the finances, right? But like, that still boils down to there was somebody better out there for you that made, like, the guy left, right? Well, he's gonna leave, but he's still gonna find someone new, right? So he, the reason people are leaving, there could be a bunch of reasons why it initiates it, but at the end of the day, it's because you're like, I'm gonna go and find a better option.
I think it's more that you realize that person that you're with is not the right one for you.
True.
But there's also, I don't know, I think it could be fucked up where we're not treating people like there's a newer, better option, because there's always going to be something newer and better. It's kind of like, oh, I have this car for 3 years, I want to get a new one. Like, we're talking about human beings who you took an oath with to get married. Like, I can only speak for myself, but to me, that's do or die. Whether they lose a fucking arm or a leg, there's always going to be someone better, but that's not the person I took a vow to, that I essentially said, I'll be with you through thick and through thin, and I would hope the same in exchange for me. But just be like, oh, there's someone better, I have more money now, I can find someone younger who's more this, like, then don't get married in the first place.
I retract what I said about, I think a lot of divorces happen because you're trying to find someone new and better. I think it's, like, you kind of said it too just now, but it's because that person is not on your wavelength anymore. You guys may have outgrown each other. That person makes you kind of miserable. And so you're just like, it's not because you're trying to go and leave and find someone new. It's just because it's like, girls are probably a lot less tolerant of the bullshit than the guys. Why are girls initiating divorce more than the guys? Granted, the guys are probably causing them more headache, but like, still the girls are leaving more often. So like, are divorces being initiated by women more frequently because women just have less tolerance?
Maybe. I think that's part of it. I have a few friends who are going through divorce, and it's because their husbands have just shut down. Like, they're not affectionate. They don't give them attention. They don't even really talk. And they're never going to file for divorce.
Okay, I want to say this. Okay, let's take that example. Okay, the husband shut down. He's not putting any effort. That's obviously fucking annoying, right? You don't want to stay with that person, right?
Right.
Okay,
or do you want to fix them?
But let's switch it around. Okay, let's say it's the woman that stopped putting in the effort. So who do you think's more likely to leave, a girl or a guy?
It's a good question. It's just if their significant other stops, they just go dead in the water.
Because I know what women would do. They'll be like, yo, fuck you, you know?
Yeah.
But guys, I think, would do the same. But like, is it to the same extent? Or would we put up with more bullshit? Because I don't really see myself putting up with bullshit. But in general, do you think men would put up with more bullshit from women?
I think so. I think they'll put up with it, but then they might also step out and juggle their girlfriend, their side piece, whatever, because they're dealing with it, but they're not going to like leave their wife and get a divorce, but they might step out and find someone else who isn't doing that. Not saying that's okay, but I think if something's wrong with your significant other, instead of being like, kick rocks, have a nice life, what is going on? Like, figure it out. Are they suicidal? Are they depressed? Like, what's happening? Instead of being like, oh, cool, like, they don't have a good attitude anymore, fuck them. Like, that's...
And generally, women are more of the fixers than men are. So you would think that women would...
I would hope so. I would hope
have less divorce.
Whether it's men. A man or a woman or the same sex or whatever, it doesn't matter. I think it's if there's someone who you're with that you figured this is a person I'm going to get down on my knee on and give a ring to that I'm going to be with, and something is wrong. What is wrong? How can I help that? Am I the problem? What's the problem? We can try to fix it.
We have to throw this assumption in there that in the beginning it's all happy and everything's great, and then 10 years time things changed, and I don't know why, but they do, and so they're different. So in that scenario where it's like, whoa, 10 years in, it's different, we're not the same anymore, but like, should we keep fighting for this to make it another 30 years? Like, what's that thought process like, you think, between people that divorce at that point? It's like, nah, I don't want to be miserable for another 30 years.
I would, but then I keep fighting it.
So like, but like, I think a lot of men are in that same boat. They're like, yo, fuck it, I'll be miserable. But women are probably like, I'm not going to be miserable.
Especially when you got kids involved too.
I think it depends on what you're willing to do to save the relationship. So if you're willing to, like, a lot of guys don't like sharing their emotions or saying what the problem is. And so if the woman tries to fix it, she can't because she doesn't know what the real issue is. And also, if you have kids, that changes everything. Are you supposed to prioritize your spouse or your child more? You know, people have big disputes on that. How to take care of a kid, you know, what's appropriate. If we should make them vegan, or if we should make them, you know, feed them, you know, meat. Like, there's a lot of people get really weird when it comes to kids. You know, all organic or, you know, fast food, whatever.
All organic.
So part of the reason is like people are picking wrong in the first place, right? And then when you get to that make or break point, I'm not going to say women are quitting first, you know, but people are quitting. Anyways, let's move on to the next. Fuck divorce. Shit. Can a man truly love his wife if he cheats on her?
I think so. So, because here, again, I can't speak for women, but I can speak for my experience and just my life experience. Men, as far as cheating goes, is all, most of the part, generally speaking, it's physical, right? It's that person's attractive, they want to have sex with that person, they have sex. That doesn't mean they're in love with them. That doesn't mean they're going to do all these things for them like they will with their wife. So I think a man isn't going to have sex with a woman only because he loves her. I think it's because it's physical. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're in love with their person. Their wife and everything else, the mother of their children, that love can never be replaced by a one-night stand. I think that a man can make mistakes and have, I'm not saying it's okay,
can a
but it's
woman
not
do
going
the
to be
same
love.
thing?
I can't speak for women, but I think that they can still love their significant other and make a mistake one drunken night with some guy. That doesn't mean that she no longer loves her husband, in my opinion.
Okay, so if it's not in a scenario where the woman is like actively seeing a person and it was just like a one night thing, then like that logic applies to women too.
I think so. People make mistakes and they screw up. We're human. That doesn't mean all my love for that person went out the window because you made out with someone else or did something, in my opinion. But I think you could still love someone and make a mistake. That doesn't negate the love you've had for the past 30 years.
Do you think a man can love you if he cheated on you?
No.
So opposite of what he said.
What about a woman?
No, I don't think you would cheat if you were in love with someone, but I don't know. I get people make mistakes, but that's like...
Okay, let's say you were in this scenario, okay, Miley?
Uh-huh.
Okay. We're gonna retract this because it's kind of a bad thing to say, but let's say you cheated on your husband on a one night stand, right? You were just with your girls. You didn't mean to go out that night thinking that, but like whatever had happened and you may be drunk and you did, right? Do you think you could still love your husband?
I think I could love him, but I would seriously question why why I allowed that to happen.
Like, even
There has to be some problem in the if I was in a completely happy relationship, there's no way I would sleep with another guy.
Yeah, even in your worst state, you're like, I love someone right now, and it would really fucking hurt them, and I don't even want to get close to this shit.
Right. Yeah.
So no, still, you stand on that.
Yeah.
I think it's also, it hits different when you're, so let's say hypothetically I'm married and my wife cheats on me. That would hit different as far as there's no way she would love me if she did that. And I get it. It sounds the other way around too. A woman can say the same thing. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Let's say, you know, she did it off a one night stand, right? Like, you may be able to justify that, right?
I couldn't.
If she did it where she was like premeditated and like this has been going on, dating apps, whatever, for sure, no. But like, to your logic, right? Let's say you were out with your friends and you just fucking slept with someone, it meant nothing to you, right? And you go back and try to tell her that shit, right?
Right.
She's probably gonna, you know what I mean?
She would feel the same way I would have felt if that happened to me.
Even though I know what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
men have more of wandering eye. Like, we could be in love with a girl and be like, yo, fat ass, I'll fucking tap
right.
that
But that
shit
doesn't
if
mean
I had
I'm
a
in
chance.
love with her now. Yeah.
Right? Like, men and women think a little bit differently, but
We are just wired differently. And that's why, yeah.
but the thing is, even though we're wired differently, when you boil it down though, like, it still applies both ways probably.
But I just think it's different. As far, if we're going to talk about physical anatomy, we're talking about, as far as blatant as it can go, a man entering and being inside of a woman. It doesn't go the other way around.
Look, this is the way I would justify it if I would try to justify it. I'm not trying to justify it. From the beginning of time, there were kings, right? That they had multiple wives, right? You never saw queens with multiple husbands, though.
I think there was one.
One. How
Yeah.
many kings can you mention, though? Probably a ton, right? So it's like, just in a biological sense, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, in a biological sense, men can have multiple babies at the same time.
Exactly. So
Right.
God fucking made that rule, not us. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm not agreeing with Patrick though, because
With which part?
with that, like, let's say you're in a fucking loving relationship, right? And that you happen to fuck up, right? That you don't love your wife because of that.
You still love your wife or you don't love your wife?
You're saying you could still love your wife.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm in the middle right now, but I'm kind of leaning toward what Miley's saying too, is that, like,
So walk me
can I
through it.
really love her though?
So you're going to wake up next
Like-
to her the next morning and be like, get the fuck out of here? I don't love you anymore? Or
No,
like,
it's not that overnight. It's like an insidious thing that kind of, you know, over time it creeps in, and I don't know. Like, it's kind of, it's a tough one, because I want to think that God made us this way because we have certain rights that you guys don't. But at the same time, I don't know.
More hurtful than the fact that he slept with someone else would be the fact that he disregarded my feelings and was able to sleep with someone else. I could probably get over the physical cheating, but the fact that he did not care about my feelings would be the more hurtful part of
How
that.
could he make more? How can he make more? How can he regard your feelings more, and still get away with it?
I don't think he could, because at that point I'd feel like,
So it is the physical part. It's all of it. Like, you can't be like, it's not the physical part.
well, certain things, like if he did something else equally as bad, it would probably have the same effect. Like if he just didn't give a fuck about me about something.
where do you draw the line?
I don't think it would have the equal effect.
What if your fiance goes to Vegas for a bachelor party? Where do you draw the line? Is a lap dance cheating? Or like, where are you, that's okay, this isn't
Come on,
okay?
bro. We know the fucking answer to this.
Well, what do you think?
Kissing, fucking, getting blowjobs is probably
Yeah,
all
that's-
going to count.
I would
Right?
imagine.
It's not a fucking hard question to answer. So there's
But
a
you didn't
line,
give her
right?
the opportunity to answer it. What would be your answer?
Okay, what's the answer?
An exchange of bodily fluids.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I
So anything
mean,
over the clothes, okay?
I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it.
Yeah. You better be careful what you say.
I wouldn't like
Miley.
it. I definitely wouldn't like it, but
But you wouldn't divorce him because of that?
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think I could forgive that. Like if he was out with his guy friends.
Like,
and
you'd
his
give him
friends.
hell, but you wouldn't divorce him.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, so although God did make us differently, or whatever creator that made us, we're obviously different, right? Biologically. And that could mean that our chemistries are wired differently too, right? So
sure.
since humans and animals in general, like our only job is to procreate, right? So you can't really, demonize men for wanting to sleep with more women, even though they're married. But at the same time, we're not animals. We are a civilization that has created a structure like marriage. And we know that despite the fact that it's against our biology, we made a conscious choice to be loyal to this woman in monogamy, right?
Yeah, which you don't have to make. It's a choice.
Right.
You don't have to do it.
You don't have to get married.
You just have to know what you're signing up for when you sign up for it.
But I think most guys would want the benefits of marriage and to be able to fulfill their biological desires.
And that's
that
why
would be the most ideal situation.
And that's why I'm sure a lot of guys have their side chick and their girlfriend on the side, especially in OC. You see it all the time. We're just like,
but it's
that
not.
person's married.
But that's. I don't know. It's like it's not respectable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't look up to like. I don't know. It's not respectable, but at the same time, it's cool as fuck. I don't even know how I would look at that. Like, I don't want to be this fucking womanizer, being married, cheating on my wife. That's fucking gross. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, it's like, fuck, bro. Who doesn't want to be a king, you know? So it's like weird dilemma. All right, you comment on that. Like, you probably run into a lot of guys that you feel their maturity isn't there yet, right? They still have this like, I don't want to settle down vibe because they want to be able to have that. But like, I don't know, like what do you think the difference is between those two
Actually,
guys?
I think most guys that I meet act like they want to settle, but really they don't want to. But what the image that they're trying to, the message they're trying to send is that they're trying to settle down and be serious. But at the end of the day, they're not.
What's the age range of the guys you're going after? Like 30s, 40s, or where are they at?
Like 35 to 45.
I can see that, to not seem immature. They seem like they're ready to settle down and do all that.
No, but I think they really do want to settle down. They do want to marry you. They do want to be married. They do want to have the family, but they just know in the back of their mind that they're gonna have a wandering eye. Some may act on it, some might not, but like every man has that in his biology. So I guess it's like you're asking us to fight our biology. Are we asking you to fight your biology? Right?
That's a good question, though. Yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that,
What's
but
have
a woman's
you- have-
biology?
A woman's biology is to, I just like to equate us to animals, right? Like not one specific animal like lions, but just like in general. Like a woman's biology is to have children. She adores the children that she produces, right? And that's what continues to make life go on. So as long as the guy doesn't fucking ask her to do something that's against that, then we're not asking you to do something against your biology, but you are asking us not to.
Well, if that's your logic, I mean, there's tons of women who are fighting against their biology because there's tons of women that don't have children.
by choice, or they're just, I get what you're saying. Some of them are by choice, and then some of them are just, they may not have found the person they were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what's a man's biology then?
To procreate and protect.
Yeah, that's what you're
provide.
saying.
We just want to insert our fucking rod into things, right? Like, even if it's not about
It doesn't need to all be love.
No, but like the animal kingdom, right? Like, the guy is not necessarily thinking about, he's not thinking about the babies he's producing. He's just thinking about, how can I fucking get my rocks off because I'm a horny horn dog, right? That's a guy's biology, is to fuck things. And build, probably, right? Like you go and bring food back to the tribe, you're building pretty much, or, you know, you're sustaining the life. Yeah, you're hunting so that life is sustained, and not just hunting, but like building also, you know.
Providing and protecting. So if we're going to go just in the animalistic form, it's to, like you're saying, procreate, provide, protect. So let's go with the typical example of like a lion, right? Like that is you're gonna make your cubs, and you want to make sure no other predators come and eat them and kill them. And you also want to make sure everything's good to go and have more, so that bloodline keeps going. That's just a basic animalistic instinct of, if we were to go in that example, it's just to take care of business.
So our biology is to fuck a bunch and to protect our tribe. Fuck the whole world. I could care less about all y'all, but I'm gonna make sure mine is protected, you know?
If I had a kid, that'd be my mentality, is I'm taking care of my kid, and that's my number one goal, is to preserve this life and to give the best that I can give. Just like a protector. That's your dad. This is your role now, has switched to provide and protect.
What
and
about
support.
your baby mama?
Same thing. She's included in that. That's the mother of my seed, of my kid, like that. Give my life for them any second, and you have to protect them. But a lot of people, I feel like, don't have that mentality anymore. Just like, oh, she's my wife, she's my kid, that's my kid, whatever. But it's just a different world that we're in from the world that we grew up in my opinion, 30-something years ago versus what it is now.
Do we ask you to do anything against your biology? I'm just wondering that.
Yeah, I do. I think guys expect women to be this powerful woman that's bringing 50-50 to the relationship, and you know, if you don't have that to offer, then you don't really have value.
Right. Like, we expect you to do all the shit and bring money to the table. Mm-hmm. That's against their biology for sure. Like,
yeah, if we're to go,
you can't expect a woman to wear all the hats. She's got to wear her own hats, do her job well, not wear. Okay. Damn, this is some fucking deep shit, you guys. Okay, is it, or are we just shooting the shit, huh? Okay, here's one, and it's like a sex question, so it goes different ways. Would you rather have a man who's great in bed but had a really high body count, or someone with a low body count who's just average?
Great in bed.
Okay. You know.
low body count.
You don't care about her
Nope.
not doing like some of the sexual gimmicks.
That can all be learned. I'd rather teach it than have someone's like, where did you learn that? It's so,
I don't think it could all be learned. Like, there's a certain rhythm somebody has in dancing, right? That like you could train your whole life and not be as good as someone who has natural talent.
I still take that person. Yeah, I'd rather a low body count, no experience, than just in everything in general, right? Like, what is the reason for the high body count? What is the reason no one stuck with you for that long? What's the risk factor as far as, am I gonna catch something? Did you have something previously? Like, there's just, it's not worth it in my opinion.
Okay, I'm 100% on your page, right? So like, we're so different, right? Men and women are so different, right? So like,
I mean, I don't speak for all women. That's just me.
But do you think the majority of women would agree? What do you think? Do you think the majority of women would agree? Like, okay, let's not talk about sex, okay? Let's just talk about life experience, right? Would you rather have a guy who's had a ton of life experience, who can be very socially aware, he's very aware of his surroundings, whatever, but he's kind of an asshole a little bit? Or would you rather take the guy who's really nice, but he's just not on that guy's level? He's not going to be able to see the things and protect you the way that you would want to be, you know, fully protected by. I know it's kind of like, maybe not, it's apples and oranges, but like, just answer. What would you rather have?
The asshole?
That makes sense. Nice guys finish last.
So it's not about asshole though. It's because that guy's more competent, right? So now taking it back to the sexual thing, you know, like, I think just it's natural for girls to want to be led, right? They don't want to have to teach their man shit, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
right, so but we don't mind teaching our girls something, not at all, right?
Don't mind.
So damn, we're so different, you guys.
Not that we can put, yeah, like I'm trying to think of like another analogy to it as far as like more time versus less time, but yeah, I don't know. It just, I think we are different.
Okay. How do you handle a situation where you don't really get along with your partner's best friend or family member, no matter how hard you try?
Any reason why?
Yeah.
Like, are they just
I can't give you hypotheticals, bro.
if they? I would. Okay, so family member doesn't like me for whatever reason, just because.
No, it's not. They don't like you. You don't like them.
Okay. I'm trying to think of why, but
Like her friend's a slut.
okay, and she doesn't like that she's settling down and do all that.
And every time she goes out just for drinks, I'm not meeting guys. I'm just going to hang out and have a drink. She's fucking feeding her with all this energy.
Yeah, what I would do, real life scenario, is I would just have a one-on-one conversation with my girlfriend, whoever that person is, and be like, hey, look, I don't like this situation. I don't like what you're getting into with her. And out of respect for me, can you kind of cut that out? And if she says yes, cool. If she says no, then have a good life.
You would end it with her?
Wow.
100%. Yeah. I know where the story ends. Why live it?
Oh,
I know
that's
it's not
a
going to
good
work
point.
out.
That's a good point. Okay, Miley, you.
I mean, I would kind of take the same approach, but I would let it play out and see what happens. So I would have a talk with my significant other and be like, this is how this makes me feel. This makes me feel. And then let them handle it and see how they handle it.
I think it depends on what the long-term effects of that relationship will be, right? If it's something that I know will destroy our relationship, like you said, I've seen this play out, right?
Yeah.
I would take the same approach as you, right? Because I don't want to wait 2 years to find out that this isn't going to work out.
Exactly.
But if it was something that was just kind of, it's not going to really hurt the relationship. This is just kind of one of those annoying things, you know? Fucking can't stand your friend fucking Becky, you know? Fucking annoying. She just comments and laughs at the dumbest shit, you know? But it's not going to hurt our relationship, though. Then, no, okay, you know, fucking just take one on the chin, you know?
Find a boyfriend for Becky so she can run off and have fun with him and leave us alone.
That probably would work.
I wouldn't even put that much effort into it. Just you go keep hanging out with your annoying friend, you know? But I wouldn't tell her to stop it or anything like, but that's kind of like a easy one to, but like in a tougher situation where it was like, yeah, I don't really think that you should be hanging out with this person. It's not a good influence on you, you know, not necessarily going to fuck the relationship up, but it's still not a great influence in the way that I think we should be like, you know, raising our children, being on the same thought processes and frequencies, what we want out of life, how we, you know, whatever, like just our approach to life. That'd be tougher, you know. I can't see myself ending a relationship over that. That would be more of like trying to like maybe talk her through it, like, hey, you're retarded, you know, you're retarded, right? Like, this is why you're retarded, you know, like, or I don't know. If it was one of those things where she just wasn't listening and it was gonna jeopardize the relationship, it's like, yo, you gotta like, girls gotta follow their man's lead, you know? Like, sometimes guys see danger that we can't explain, but we just know, oh, this is not gonna end well.
Yeah, or we can go with the, oh, he's just a friend hypo. And it's like, we know he's not just trying to stay a friend.
Yeah, we've all seen those videos where like the boyfriend's sitting next to the girlfriend and she's like, yeah, he's just a friend. And he's like, all right, call him right now. Call him.
Yeah.
And then she's like, hey, he broke up with me. Can I come cuddle? And then he's like, I've been waiting for my chance, you know? Like, we've all seen those videos where it's like the friend is not just a friend.
And so that's what you're saying, where it's like we can see like danger approaching, like we got to be careful with this one, but she might be like, no, he's just a friend. She doesn't know his intentions are something different, but we know. So will she hear us out, or should be like, you're just paranoid? I'm sure that happens all the time.
But those are like some of the easier red flags. There's other red flags that is like, give you like warning signals, but you're like, I don't know, like maybe we could work through this one, you know?
Like what kind of red flag?
I don't know. Like I don't really know right now, but like maybe just something where, like, for example, like you're not that religious.
Okay.
But she's like totally closed to it and you're kind of open to it, and you know one day we're gonna have kids and it's probably better environment for them if like we go to the church and we do that Sunday nuclear family bullshit. But like she's like totally like nah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, that'd be difficult.
You know what I mean? Like I give her a chance. I'd be like, you know, I don't want you to like it, I don't expect it, but like this is probably something good for the family, you know?
Right.
I don't even enjoy it either, but like, so like if she's not on the same page with me about certain things, you know, that I would expect you to be on the same page with me on, you know?
Yeah.
Like those are harder situations. But
Would you walk away in a situation like that, or try to work it out?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't really know. But back to like the person, there's another person, an outside influence. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, and you don't like that person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that that's not going to affect you guys being together, but like you really didn't like the person. You said you'd express your opinion to him, right? See how you felt. You said, as long as this doesn't jeopardize my relationship, then I'm not going to break up. But if it does, I'll break up right away.
Yeah.
And then now we're talking about like annoying family and annoying friends that your partner just doesn't like. So like, how do you handle that? Just
So the flip situation.
yeah. Oh no, like just back to that same question. So you told them that this is how you feel. You told them to, but you realize it's not going to break the relationship up. So like, there's just that like disharmony between the people you guys are hanging out with and associating with.
You just gotta thug it out and try not to hang out with them too long. Be like, I can't stand this person. They're annoying, but that's my significant other's family. They can't pick their family. It just is what it is. So
You wouldn't just be like, expect them to be like, you know what? If it fucking makes you so annoyed, like I don't even need to see that person anymore.
no, I wouldn't.
You
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
expect that from that.
No, and I wouldn't ask that from them. Just like I wouldn't want her to ask me that. Like, hey, your cousin's annoying. Stop hanging out with him. Or I don't want to be there when he's there. Like, no, this is my family. That's my blood.
I think that's a good way to look at it, is put yourself in her shoes. Like if it was you, like this is my boy, I grew up with him, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's whatever, kind of a jerk with this or that, but like he makes me laugh, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so like if she has that kind of friend too, that you're just fucking annoyed, but like she makes her laugh, you know? Like it's kind of just not fair to even have a say, but at the same time is like you don't want your friend groups to be too different, you know what I mean? Like and you don't want her friends to be too much of an influence, so it's like that fine line of like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
leave her alone and then like fucking get in her ear about it.
As long as it's not that single friend who's scheming behind your back to make your girlfriend single to be her buddy out there, then everything else is fine. I'm not concerned about it.
It's like, at work. You don't get along with everyone at work, but you put up with it.
Right. You look at them as like that same caliber, of relationship. Like you're not somebody that is, I just have to tolerate this. Okay. Gotcha. Let's see. So I asked this in the beginning. Would you wait in the friend zone for someone that may have potential to be something? We got to that one already. Mm-hmm. What do you do if your partner is in the mood for intimacy, but you're not?
Put out.
I'm always in the mood.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, just you satisfy your partner. It's not just like, it's not, that's kind of thing with relationships. It's not a one way. I don't feel like I'm just gonna sit here and watch TV. It's just like you're in a relationship. Your other partner has needs. Just like when you might want it and she doesn't, you just have to make it work out. It's not about how I feel right now and it's the Patrick world.
So what if you really weren't in the mood though? Would you expect them to be understanding? Like, she's not in the mood. She's always in the mood. So fuck it, she's not in the mood right now. Cool. Or
I mean, I guess it would depend on the last time that we did that. If it's been like 2 months and they're not in the mood, that would not be cool. But if it was like yesterday and then, today, that's not a big deal.
I see. I wonder how I would react to that. Like, I don't really think I care. I just go rub one out in the bathroom probably. But like,
I think once sex stops happening, that's a big sign that your relationship's in trouble.
Yeah, for sure. That is definitely a red flag. Because either they're getting it for somebody else or they're not. Something's happening.
Yeah.
That's not natural. But yeah.
do you think it's healthy for the girl to have a higher sex drive than the guy, or the guy to have a higher sex drive than the girl?
Doesn't matter. I don't know.
I think the girl needs to have a higher sex drive. I think it's better when the guy's able to say, sweetie, not right now. And her to always be like, okay, are you ready now? Are you ready now? You know?
And I feel like that's not common. I feel like a girl with a high sex drive is probably the same as a normal dude. They probably balance each other. I don't know any guy that I know that's dating anyone else who's like she has a higher sex drive than.
And is that due to
any guy.
testosterone?
Probably. Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think that you've ever had a higher sex drive than
Yes.
the guys that you met?
Would it be like a low testosterone guy, like just a couch potato kind of thing?
No, I don't think so. I just
Have
it
you ever
wasn't.
have you ever met like a really athletic guy that was like maybe muscles and just super that didn't have a high sex drive? Or like yours was higher than his?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, maybe it is testosterone.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so if you're in that situation, which you shouldn't be because you should probably. Okay, wait, you're saying that girls don't generally have as high sex drive as guys.
I think so. Generally speaking, yeah. I think it's guys are always, that's on their mind all the time. I can't speak for women again, but as far as like that sex drive, I don't know most my friends who have girlfriends XYZ, they've never complained about my girlfriend wants to have sex too much. You see what I'm saying? I've never really heard that.
And when they do say that they have, like, they just talk a big game. They'll be like, oh, I want it 7 times a day. And then you give it to them 7 times a day, and then they can't handle it.
I've heard though that older women have higher sex drives,
Yeah, I could see
like
that.
late 30s.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see the younger guys in like 21, 22 through just all their whole 20s just being crazy fucking out of the fucking ears with testosterone, right? And then when you become like 45, 50, you know, like,
Yeah, it tapers off.
right, your dick doesn't get hard as quick, you know?
Or maybe it doesn't, and then you gotta take pills for that and things like that.
But like a woman, like maybe at that age of her life, right? Like that's when it kicks in. Like
Yeah.
why is it that women in their like early 20s are not, or would you guys disagree? Are women in their early 20s not as horny as guys in their early 20s?
I don't think that they're not as horny. They're just trying to figure out what sex is about, their body and stuff like that. And a lot of them are insecure too.
But you don't think it has anything to do with like the drive?
I
Like
don't
the
think
libido?
so.
No.
It's just curiosity and trying to, because women are very body conscious, right? So I think they're more shy about sex at that age.
Okay. Okay, wait, back to this question. So girls, would it be preferable? Would it be optimal to have a girl that has a higher sex drive than the guy, or for the guy to be always hornier than the girl? I think for a long lasting relationship, if the girl was always asking the guy for sex, I could see that working out long term. But if the guy is always asking the girl for sex, which seems like a lot of marriages are like that, right? Like the guy's like, yo, when are we gonna have sex, right? And the girl's like, nah. Then that's when it's gonna be over, probably.
Well, because there's the assumption that guys always want sex, if I was always having to ask my boyfriend for sex, I'd feel like he just wasn't attracted to me.
That makes sense. Where he's not initiating it, you're the one that has to go there and initiate and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because if he was attracted to you, then he'd be making the moves. That makes sense, yeah.
Okay, how would you want, this is the last question, this one's for Miley. How would you want a first date to go?
What do you mean?
Like what would be considered a good first date?
If we're laughing a lot and the conversation comes easily.
Would you rather him allow you to just talk about your experiences and what you are thinking and like kind of cater the conversation toward your interests? Or would you rather him like talk about himself and try to like give you the full picture of like what he is and what he has to offer?
It doesn't really matter as long as it's just an easy conversation. If I feel like if there's a long pause or if I'm trying to like find stuff to ask him, then that's not a good sign. But if it's just, flowing and easy, it doesn't really matter what it's about.
Because I've heard that the best dates, and I don't know if I agree with this, but is when the girl does 90% of the talking. And so
Guys say that? Guys that say that's the best date, or girls say
I've
that's the
heard
best
like
date?
stats on this that like these are the best dates is when like you let the girl talk 90% of the time and just keep asking her questions so she keeps talking.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, she's like thinking like, oh, that was a great conversation.
Yeah.
But the guy just not manipulated her, but like pretty much let her and express herself instead of so like what I'm asking you though is that like let's say a guy had a good balance of knowing how to sprinkle in like, yo, this is how amazing I am, right? But still took that 90% approach, then I think that would be a good thing. It's not like you can't talk about yourself at all. Like you do want to kind of like pat yourself on the shoulder a little bit, right? Like I'm different from the rest of the guys, pick me, But what do you
I
think?
really don't like it when guys try to flaunt
Right.
what they have.
Okay, that was where I was getting to. So, but like, let's say he's not doing it in a flaunting way. Would you just rather him not talk about himself at all?
No, of course I want to get to know him and learn about him and what his background is, what he's about, what he.
But do you
values.
really? Do you really though?
So, okay,
like,
this
is there
is one
like
thing.
if there was like a threshold of like how much I want you to share? Like, what would that be?
Well, not necessarily what he's telling me, but you can see like. So, for example, I went on a date with this guy, and the server came out and like dropped off the food or whatever, and then left, and then there was like dishes on the table next to us, and he just noticed. He could have come, dropped off the food, and picked up those dishes and made one trip to be efficient, whatever. And I thought that was really funny that he like noticed something small like that. And then at the end of the date, we were leaving. He picked up the dishes and he brought it to the guy in the front, right? I was like, well, that was really sweet. So it's not necessarily something he told me, but just the way that he thinks and what his actions were told me way more about him than anything he could have told me.
Huh? That's interesting.
That 90% thing. You ever listen to Tom Likas or heard of Tom Likas?
Yeah, I love that guy.
Okay, and that's what I was asking about the stats for men, because the more things a man were to say in a date, the more possible red flags he can raise, and the more chances of not happening with the second date.
Like the mystery's kind of gone. Like
Yeah.
she can imagine who you are.
Or let's say I hate cats, and she loves cats, and that slipped. It's not gonna work out, So it's more just like whole information, and tell me more, versus provide things that could potentially blow something up. That's the whole Tom Likas kind of thing with that 90%.
So you agree?
With talking less and
Yeah, like let
listening
her
more.
do 90%.
I think you want to not 90%, but make it balanced. But you want to probe and get information. You want to know, what are they about? What do they like? Are we going to be a good fit? Just like she wants to know that for me. Like, what am I about? Like, what are my morals? Am I just a jerk? So I think it's a healthy balance of conversation between back and forth. And if I say something and that's just who I am and you don't like it, then fine. Then it is what it is. But
Right.
I'd rather do that.
I'd rather get to know the actual person than try to get to the next date. You know what I mean? And I feel like if you're limiting yourself to 90% and like not sharing certain things because you don't want her to find out red flags or she might be set off by something, you're kind of wasting your time, because you might get a second date, but then she might find something out later, and then it's just going to delay the inevitable.
Have you ever had a guy order food for you on a first date?
I have.
What was your take on that?
I thought it was weird. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I don't, but I've seen people do that where it's like, oh, she's going to have this or you're going to have that. It's kind of just like, I don't know. I've never obviously been on the other side of that.
If I've asked him, oh, you've been here before, you know what's good. Okay, that makes sense. But if they just do it off the bat and like, I know what's good for you, I don't like that.
Gotcha. Red flag.
Okay, guys, all our cameras are dead. So I'm going to end this stream. And I think it was a great conversation.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for having us.